God, we all remember it. It's just an incredible, it's almost like a revival story like Jesus. I mean, Harbaugh passing away that morning and then Sherrone leading him to victory at Penn State and then somehow Harbaugh alive again to coach the Chargers. We're asking you the question, though, in all seriousness. It's something different because, like, I think all of us are done with it. I think Michigan fans are done with it. I think we're done with it. It was an idea of, did Harbaugh leave you in as good a shape as he found you? Now, when I ask you this question, please do not just go, Natty, blarg. No. I understood. That's past tense now, though.
It's going to require some thought.
This is about tomorrow. This is about he found you. Your reputation was pristine. He had a roster full of NFL talent that Brady Hoke left him. That's factual. Can't argue that. And now let's look how he's leaving you. It's Pete Carroll 2.0. NCAA swirling, double investigations. Your reputation is shot. Your recruiting is not commiserate with a team having the success you've had over the last 3 years. And now he's gutting the staff and taking them to the Chargers. Now the Big Ten is getting a hell of a lot tougher. I just want to know if he left you in as good a shape as you were. I think you paid a very dear price. Now, again, if it's natty and I don't care if we're bad for a decade, respect. I'm not mad, but I'm also not having that discussion with you. I'm asking a question. Because the funny part of all of it, and believe me, there's no skin in the game for me. I wanted him to stay. We had a caller in hour number 1. Yeah, you're damn right I wanted a chance to beat the guy again. Beating Harbaugh is hilarious. But with him gone, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like it suddenly helps my program stand on its own 2 feet. My program's got its own problems.
Right.
I'm saying you sold your soul to the devil. You know, you fell in love with a stripper. And he constantly was trying to find another pole to dance on, and he did. He told you multiple times, no, I want to be here as long as you'll have me. Cutscene, I'm interviewing. It'll be the last time I do that. Vikings.
It's not you, it's me.
Right, cutscene. Now we're back at it. And I don't know. I kind of feel like he got out in the nick of time. Maybe him leaving lessens what the NCAA does to you. I could see a sensibility in that, being that he is the CEO of the program that cheated their balls off the last 3 years. But the thing, God, all right, I'm going to say this. Please don't get angry. I'm asking you guys not to get angry. I think the Michigan fan base, it cuts 2 ways. And this is not an issue, Rico, of better than or not. I'm saying it's different.
Okay.
I think the people that actually went to the school are very upset about what the reputation of the school is now. The reputation of Michigan football. I think if I could hook John Jansen up to Robert De Niro's Truth Machine from Meet the Parents, I think John would be angry about what Michigan football is perceived to be right now because of Jim Harbaugh.
So the vested interest that you went there, you have a degree from there, or you got
or
a kid.
Or if you played there,
right.
Or if you got a kid there, or I just feel like it hits different. Like, I don't like the decisions Michigan State has made over the years that make the school look terrible. I went to the school. If I didn't and I just owned a Mo Pete throwback jersey, my feelings would be different. That's not a better than. It's different. Now, if you don't care about any of that, then the reputation thing is off the table. No big deal. But I'm saying in totality, Jim left you in a pretty rough spot here. And Sherrone has got his work cut out for him. And I really sincerely hope people give this man a fair chance. Because it's very hard to replace the legend. It's very hard to replace the guy. You don't want to be the next guy.
Right. You don't. You don't want to be Tim Floyd.
I think you have a bit of a, if you want me to be polite, I'd say a retooling. I think there's a bit of a rebuilding that needs to take place. And that's before we get to your first disciplinary hearing this spring with the second one to follow that.
Well, it's going to be a step back because Michigan's going to have to hit the portal hard. But because of their restrictions, they can't just bring in everybody.
Big dog. What portal? The party's over.
No. the next phase of the portal.
When's that take place?
Spring practices.
Oh, great.
No, because after spring practice, the portal opens up again for 30 days. These are all the people who didn't get that starting job, didn't like the amount of reps they got in practice, or I think there's greener pastures out there.
Got you.
So that's where
Portal A has already taken place.
Yeah.
Which is it fair for me to say it's the primo one?
Yeah.
Like the carousel and portal.
Portal B is clearance rack.
Like I feel like
but you can get a lot of bargains on the clearance rack.
No doubt. I'm saying for Sherrone, where do you go for staffing this deep into the cycle?
I think you're going to hold on a lot of people. You're going to elevate a lot of GAs and give them their shot. And like, hey, Mike, you want to be my OC, Mike Hart. You're going to be my OC. And
I'm going to use a line from Brady Hoke. This is Michigan. Come on, you can do better than that. But be careful. Last time in this state a coach left this deep into the cycle, I ended up with Jay Johnson, Scotty Hazelton, and Ross Ells.
And that's what I'm saying. If
be
not,
careful.
Unless you got a buddy who's a coach somewhere else and you're like, hey, David, remember we used to talk about this years ago? Come run my defense. Come run my tight ends. Come run this. So, but I think he's going to try to keep a lot of people intact. And then because all your coaches are all out there, unless there's a few stragglers that just didn't make the cut.
I think it's a tough spot. And again, I don't think it's some like death sentence, but there's so many factors to this, and Harbaugh just waltzes away. That's tough, man, especially for a school that was willing to go to the mattresses for him. Do the unthinkable. They defended the indefensible when you really think about it. They cashed in all their integrity, all their ethics, all of their sanity, and they did it for him. And still, if you believe the reports, we're ready to make him the highest paid coach in the game who wouldn't be eligible to coach next year. Imagine paying $12.5 for a guy who couldn't be on your sidelines. But as some of you have said, that's the cost of Harbaugh, and that's the cost of winning the Natty. I'm not mad at you for saying it.
See, but I think that's why most Michigan fans that we're hearing from are saying it's not worse, because they look at it, because you have to think, in my mind, what I think about it is the reputation of the university is nowhere near where it was when he first got here because of what he's done.
Well, I would say the football program, but noted, understood. Yes.
But I think many of them say, oh, no big deal because, it was just a cheeseburger. That's what they've deduced it to. And then you also have, well, the NCAA just has a vendetta against us. So when you already on foundation are there, they can't say that it's worse off because they don't look at the NCAA stuff as a thing.
David, I don't need them to say anything. I just think it's a different angle from the very boring, monotonous, oh my God, Jim's gone, call me. I mean, come on. Let's go to Jeff, 97.1. Jeff, what's going on?
Hey, guys, if you give me a little bit of latitude here, I want to make a comment about the Raiders that you guys are talking about before I get to my Harbaugh comment real quick. Yeah, Wilson to the Raiders, no thank you. With that offensive line, you better dial 911 right now. Okay, I'm done. Okay, so Harbaugh, worst shape, I would say, for a couple of things that people aren't addressing maybe. One, Moore is going to have to spend as much time keeping his players as he is exploring the portal when it reopens. That's a tough task, especially for somebody who's in a new position. Besides all the attrition and everything else, Moore doesn't have the cachet to fight the battle that Harbaugh has been fighting regarding the NIL at Michigan. Michigan's still behind in that, and that's a huge handicap that I don't think Moore has the cachet to fight for. And kind of the final thing is, as you've mentioned, replacing the staff, whoever stays and whoever comes from the portal, you're going to have a new defensive scheme. And, players are going to have to adjust on the fly. And this all of this combined, some people might say, well, it's worse than Natty. Okay. So, teams are in decline. You look at LSU after their national championship, they went 7-5. I mean, attrition, all these things add up, and it's worse than Natty. It is right up until you go 8-4, right? And that's when the Natty starts to fade. Season 2, maybe you're 9-3. And it starts to get further and further and further away. And that's why I feel for Moore, because is usually the situation in these conditions. He's the bridge coach.
Yeah.
We don't know it yet for sure, but he's the bridge coach, and he is the one who's going to set all the NCAA stuff. He's the one who's going to hold the team together with tape and rubber bands. And then 3 seasons from now of 8-4, someone else will come in and rebuild. That's what I really think is happening, and that's why I think we're in a little bit worse condition than we were previous.
Yeah, no, Jeff, there's nothing for me to argue. I don't want you to think I'm being dismissive. I happen to agree with a lot of what you're saying, so you kind of said it all. I mean, Rico, is there anything to take him to task over? I don't.
No.
I think Jeff and I view the world in a similar way.
Very well thought
right.
out.
None of it is a shot. It's not smarm. It's about having a real sports conversation. It's okay to be thankful that you got the natty and you're willing to dance with the devil, but let's have a look ahead now. I do think there's some stormy waters. I mean, if Sherrone Moore waltzes in here with a roster that loses how many players, and all of a sudden Michigan's in the playoff again next year, you're talking he's the national coach of the year. You're talking about a remarkable coaching job. Mm-hmm. Because the problem is, look, if you wouldn't mind, David, I mean, pull up Ohio State's recruiting, pull up Georgia's recruiting, Bama's recruiting, pull up what it takes to maintain national championship good versus this is a team they're going to write books about, both good and bad. But this is a special group, and you lost them. You know, it's very similar to what MSU had when we recruited kids that shouldn't have been as good as they were. We had a magical couple-year run, and you know what we couldn't do? Sustain it.
Crashed and burned.
Couldn't do it. We ran out of 3-star Darquez Denards and Danicos Allen, who I swear was 35 years old as a freshman, but whatever.
And Trey Waynes, the cowboy.
Special, lives in Montana now. I think you had a special group of players, but if your intent is what David's is, which is I want another natty.
Well, see, that let me know. That was one of the other things when JJ walked away and when they really weren't hitting the portal hard and you didn't see a lot of great people on campus in the window for on-campus visits.
I know what it reminded me of. A guy who wasn't trying because he was busy doing other things. Now, not all other things are created equal.
Let's clean that up.
Not all other things are created equal. I'm saying distraction is distraction.
He wasn't focused on the task at hand.
Thank you, Rico Beard.